chance to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Today we have a very special guest in-house, Jono Barnes.
Oh, me?
That guy right there.
Oh, I thought Drew Brees was walking into something. You say a special guest.
Well, I would have said extra special for Drew Brees, but you're special.
I appreciate that, guys.
We didn't
Thank
say
you.
future first ballot Hall of Famer in the NFL. We didn't say Super Bowl champion, although I think we are all Super Bowl champions, if you really ask me.
Yeah, we apparently fired Nick Overhill, as he is now known.
Yep.
And we replaced him with Jono Barnes.
Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry to all the Nick fans, but business is business, and you got to follow the numbers.
We're trying to stay ahead of the game here at the 28-3 podcast, and sometimes that means making some tough cuts. And it comes down to the wire. You can only, the Saints have 53. We have 3. Nick didn't perform as well as we thought he would this preseason. And so here we are, right?
Had to go younger, had to go, fresher legs. I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to build for the future.
And we know Jono's had a strong brand going, but, we kind of had some investors. We offered him a good contract. And
yes.
It's going to turn into this 28-3 more than it. No, okay, I'm done now.
I was waiting to see how far this was going to go.
Jono just went the whole episode.
Jono's good. Nick is good. Nick just couldn't be with us here tonight.
Yeah, and to be fair, let's go ahead and tell the audience why Nick is not here. So his head got a little bit too big from some tweets that went out last week. Basically calling him the, what was it, the most...
Well, our friend Dan from the Saint City and Me podcast at Procrastinatus on Twitter.
Shout out to you, Dan. We love you.
That's right.
We do.
That's right.
You too, Mike.
Dan put out a tweet that Nick has not yet recovered from, which is that at Nick Shea, who will be soon changing his handle to Nick Overhill,
yes,
is low-key the best Saints podcaster out there right now.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to argue with it. That's my guy. We've been best buds since we were like 4 feet tall.
Yeah, so
and we still argue about the same shit that we did 30 years ago. But he has a photographic memory with anything Saints or football related. So shout out to my guy.
Yeah, so that said, Nick's in a contract holdout situation right now, and we're trying to decide how to handle it.
Don't you hate when people get big heads? They start smelling themselves, and come on, Nick.
I honestly thought he was going to take the Alvin Kamara approach and say, you know what, just like Kamara says, I love this city. I'm not going to let a contract get in the way of people who love me, who have shown me so much support. I thought Nick would say, I'm not going to let the podcast contract, because we pay each other millions, right?
Absolutely.
Get in the way of people who love him, like Dan, and only more who will. But how much longer do you think we can go on talking about Nick?
Probably about 3 more seconds. We're going to go ahead and pivot.
Yeah, we don't want to lose any viewers. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're still here, right?
First and foremost, let's talk about the game yesterday. Because I know before we got started with the recording, we talked about it. That was the most fun I personally have had in the Superdome in about 5 years.
Yes, as a season ticket holder since 2003, I would say at least top 10, just because of the unexpectedness of that game. And I'm not saying that's going to take us to great heights or anything, but that was a really fun game. I will say that was definitely the most fun since 2019, easily.
Easy.
2020, obviously, we couldn't go to the game, so... but 2021, 2022, and 2023 had some fun games, but not as fun as what the Week 1 2024 game was.
Well, you know what, though? We did get to go to a game or two during 2020. Because I remember...
well, I went to the Chiefs one, which was great. I wanted to see Mahomes. So
oh, there you go.
That was kind of fun when we lost, but we gave them a good fight. So
Yeah. I remember the best experience was, funny enough, was going to the restroom with nobody in the Superdome.
Oh, yeah.
And, standing in the center urinal, looking to my right, seeing 10 empty spaces, looking to my left, and seeing 10 empty spaces. I'm like, man, I have arrived. I've
being
got the
able
Superdome
to stand up and stretch...
Oh, man, just kind of, yeah.
That was great.
No, it was awesome. And that, not that I want to go through another pandemic and have the Superdome empty, but there was something to be said for those games.
Yeah, I didn't make it to one of those pandemic games. And
I'm shocked because you go to preseason games, which I don't do.
Wow.
Yeah, but the pandemic games, my whole premise of a preseason game is that at the end of it, the win-loss outcome will not have mattered. So therefore, during the game, I'm not nearly as stressed as I would be. And I say nearly because, of course, there could be some stress in a preseason game if it's like, oh, one of your starters you put out in the first series like got carted off the field. Like, I would be stressful in that situation. But generally, most guys stay healthy, and you're just enjoying the dome, especially with the new renovations. You know, like especially last preseason was the first chance we got to see like the significant renovation. So I went and had fun. But in this game, actually, I wasn't there.
You were there in spirit.
I was there in spirit.
Yes,
I did the.
You were there for the tailgating.
Yeah, that's. I'm not gonna say I like it.
The important part.
It's not gonna say I enjoy it more than the game, but especially like the season opener, the home opener. It's like I gotta, because from my house to the parking spot I have for work, it's like 7 to 10 minutes. And you get that out there like 9. There's no traffic, and so I don't really have an excuse not to, at a minimum, just like put on my podcast T-shirt, my Saints hat. I'm not wearing a hat today. I'm being brave.
Oh, there you
Look
go.
At that.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, we're going to be sponsored by Propecia soon, guys. So, and I don't have a problem bending that. Do what you got to do, smoke and mirrors. But, yeah, I mean, walking around, I love the vibe, dude. I mean, just like the walk up to the dome, even if I don't go in the dome, there's something about the art of the walk up, you know? It's
that point where they tell you to dump out your drink is always, I hate that part.
Yeah, so I didn't have to worry about that this time. I just turned around.
It's still your turn.
And then like, it just so happened I ran into Nick on the way back, which is crazy.
I know, man. It was all hands on deck.
It was like typical Nick. He's always contrarian, which is one of the reasons low-key one of the best Saints podcasters out there, is that I walked on the
we need a T-shirt. Low-key, one of the best Saints podcasters out there.
Who is Nick? Who is the Overhill? But I walked on the other side of the street by the old New Orleans Center, so I wasn't going into the flow like a salmon or something. And of course, Nick is on the not traveled side of the street. You know, he's just no one else is walking up. He was literally the only person I saw walking on that side of the underhang, or the overhang, I should say.
Yeah, that's about right.
But that was funny.
That's about right.
But otherwise, I mean, so for me, you know, my brother, shout out Casey, invited me over. He just closed on a new house. The address is number 4 Derek Carr Way in New Orleans, Louisiana. So y'all look up that address and go give him a shout. But no, he's got a pool and he's got his kids and he had another kid over. So, you know, went over, watched it with him, and it was nice. You know, like got to see the replays and could tell if something was a catch, wasn't a catch.
Well, speaking of nice, Jono, tell us about this drink, this delicious drink I'm drinking.
Yeah, what are we sipping on here?
Since you so kindly asked, I have my own drink at Blue Oak Barbecue throughout the month of September. It is called This Shit More Than a Drink. So when you go to Blue Oak Barbecue, don't go to the bartender and be like, I want this shit more than a drink. You got to have a little bass in your voice and say, I want one, this shit more than a drink.
Yeah.
A strawberry mango daiquiri. I am honored that Blue Oak came to me and asked for my own drink. I feel like my content career has gone even bigger since I've last been on y'all's show. I want to thank you guys. I feel like you guys co-signing me is the reason why. I mean, I got my own magnet at a shop on Ponce.
I saw that on
Magazine Street. I just did some commercials with the New Orleans International Airport.
Dude, I saw that.
Like, come on, I got the airport co-signing me. I just did a commercial with Bromart.
Damn,
had
dude.
Eric McCoy in my house.
That's right.
That's historic, y'all, because I've seen a lot of players do fan podcasts and whatnot. I've never seen players actually go to a fan's house.
That's like a Santa Claus's real moment. Like the dude is in your house and you go down to your living room and you're like, that Saints player is on my couch right now.
That was when you're a childhood fan since, and you're like, whoa, I got a Saints Pro Bowl center. Not like the 52nd man on the roster, but the Pro Bowl center.
Like everybody knows
in
a
your
guy
house.
who knows a guy that knew a guy who played for the Saints or tried out for the Saints. And
Exactly.
it's like, you know, some people, like before we started doing this world famous podcast, like we would have had that guy, recorded it on our phone. But no, man, like you did it right.
Well, all that to say, all that happened after I came on the 28 to 3 podcast. So
yeah,
y'all ever want to really get some shine on your aura, as the kids would say, you got to come on this podcast.
I love
that's the only reason I came back. I'm like, shoot, if all that happened since then, I got to make this podcast again and do something even bigger.
I mean, you're probably going to win the Powerball on Wednesday, right?
If I do, y'all want to know. Just know if y'all see me like with a Lamborghini in my new videos, y'all be like, something's different about Jono.
You know what though? Tell us more
shit.
about how the whole episode with Eric McCoy happened. I'm very interested in hearing how this came about.
Eric is actually a fan of some of my content. So
No kidding.
He followed me, yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is my chance to, just shoot my shot."
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I would love to do it." And the funny thing was, when I asked him, I'm thinking Zoom interview, right? I'm like, "Yeah, I have him on a Zoom. I'm not going to ask this man to come to my house, take more time out his day. Just want you to come, put your phone on, and do an interview." He was the one who insisted. He was like,
"Damn,
let's do this in person." And I didn't even have the equipment. Like, I have some stuff, but I didn't have like the top of the line equipment. So when he first said, "Let's do it in person," my wife was like, "Jono, you ain't got the equipment. It's probably just," and I had to tell him no. I felt so bad. I was like, dang. And Eric was like, "Well, look, my schedule is open for the next 3 weeks. If you really want to do this, let's do this." And I was like, "Well, that's God's way of saying, John, you better do it. I'm giving you this opportunity. What are you doing?" So I said, "I'll make it work, Eric." And we bought all the equipment like last minute, went to the house, filmed everything, set everything up, and it worked out beautifully. And I hope to do even more now with other players, public figures. It doesn't just have to be like Saints players. It could
and then you had former Pelican center
Jason Smith. Now, he is in I think Philly or New York, so that one had to be.
That was Zoom, yeah.
And if I got to do Zoom, I got it. But something about that in-person interaction, just makes it feel more special. Like, whoa, like people see. Eric McCoy was in Jono's house like that. Something that you
also get the nonverbal coming through so much more clear.
Exactly.
Because there was something you asked him, and he didn't have an audible response. He just gave you a look. And
I asked him about the 18-game schedule, and he was like, "Really? Like, we got to have 18 games? Come on."
Because it was like, he said everything. Maybe his PR team, if he's got one, was like, "All right, don't you know what, you can't talk." But like that look, whether or not he was supposed to talk about it, like that said everything. It was awesome.
Eric McCoy, as great as yesterday was the top-ranked PFF, and I know we always say PFF is like our confirmation bias, but he was the top-ranked PFF player of yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
He was, not to my knowledge, ever the top PFF player before the Jono Barnes show, so I'm just saying.
There you go. There's a direct correlation. Yeah.
This is the butterfly effect. If it wasn't for your appearance on our podcast last season, it was before the Patriots game, which, by the way, you gave that pep talk.
Yeah.
You played it on your show.
Yeah.
And then the Saints went and balled out.
The best game of the season.
Best game of the year. So
maybe we do that for Dallas, I hope.
Hey, maybe. I mean, if they need a pep talk for Dallas, something's wrong with them. But
they're going to be ready.
But you had that, and then, McCoy comes on. So it's just a beautiful little butterfly effect going on.
It's been awesome, all jokes aside. It's been amazing. I appreciate
man, you've been killing it.
You guys, I appreciate everybody who puts me on their platform. I appreciate all. I don't want to say fans because I always feel like I don't have fans, but
Corey's a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Nick has fans, okay, not Jono.
I appreciate
fans, all my the supporters. Like, this doesn't happen without people supporting me, and these brands are noticing. I'm not the biggest influencer. I hate that word. I'm not the biggest influencer. By any stretch of your imagination, but I think they.
You can be. You've been working out a lot since we last saw you.
We're on video, huh? So
we're on video, man. Look, the camera's right over here. So
that's why I've been working out.
Yeah,
we'll enhance it post production.
I think the brands and institutions see I have a legitimate community, and that's what resonates a lot more than maybe somebody who has 100K on Instagram, but who's really actually interacting with them, who's actually willing to like
the TikToks.
Exactly. So it's been awesome. I appreciate what you guys have done for me and letting me be on your platform. But we talked enough about me on the first time I did the show, so let's talk about what these fans really want to hear about, and that was the ass kicking. Woo. The New Orleans Saints and Derek Nathaniel Carr. I don't even know that's his last middle name. Derek Carr did yesterday. Shout out to Dennis Allen. I always say on my podcast on youtube.com/Jono Barnes.
There it is.
I will always make my apology as loud as my disrespect when it comes to Carr or Dennis Allen, as long as they prove it on the field. Yesterday, and there's only one game, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but yesterday they proved it, and I'm proud of them. I really am. I'm genuinely proud of them. I hope they keep it up.
Yeah, it's one game. I don't know how deep I'm buying in yet. I have my concerns about Dallas. Mm-hmm. We talked about it offline, and it's Corey. I haven't gotten your thoughts as much yet on the Dallas game coming up this weekend. Like, how do you feel about it? Do you feel? Look, Carolina sucks. We know this is a bad team, but the Saints did what good teams are supposed to do. They kicked the shit out of the bad team.
And that's the key word. Good teams. Like, everybody's saying it's the Panthers, you're supposed to. My argument is, well, everybody was saying we're a bottom 5 team and we suck and we're going to, fire Dennis out. So I'm like.
Yeah, but even if the Panthers are turn out to be, which
I think
probably pretty accurate, the worst team in the league.
Yes.
We played them the way any good team is supposed to play the worst team in the league. Now, look, they will lose to bad teams this year. But if I had to guess, I think they're going to lose to bad teams by maybe a touchdown. Like, every bad team in history always has, like, I mean, hell, even us last year making the playoffs. There's always those few games where, like, damn, if we just wouldn't, if Foster wouldn't have dropped it in the end zone, if we just would have made a kick against Green Bay, if we would, you're always pointing these like small little things that happen that could have been the difference between you winning and losing. That's almost what did happen last year when we played these dudes in week 2.
Yeah,
we came out the gates looking good, and we're like, oh, we got this. Yeah, week 2, we just beat Tennessee, but we're like, that was 1 point because Tennessee's defense is stout, man. Like. That Vrabel, like that, he's going to have those dudes ready to play. It was first game, so Panthers, and then the first half of the Panthers game in Charlotte last year, we're coming out the gates hot. We're like, yeah, we're doing good. And then what do? We let them come back. We only end up winning by like one score.
Game,
so
ugly,
that's the way a bad
game.
team plays a worse team.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
We didn't have that this week, in my opinion, and that's what I always say. When me having gone to University of Georgia and we're beating up on bad teams and everyone's like, yeah, but you beat when Auburn's been down and we crushed them during the year we won the national championship. I'm like, yeah, but the point is we crushed them. Like we did what we're supposed to do. I'm not saying we're a Super Bowl team. I'm not going to go that far, but I mean, we played them the way we're supposed to play. We went up ahead, and unlike last year, we finished them. We kept the foot on the gas because we had the ability to do it, and so I liked what I saw. But to your point or your question, Max, again, for me, it's not as much about I'm not with the whole but it was Carolina crowd. I'm very entrenched in my own stance of it was one game. Yeah, a great game. Yeah. I love what happened in the game, but the thing we didn't see last year, and again, we were not a good team last year, is us just simply doing it again.
Sustainability.
Do it again.
Yeah, and let me say this about the game. So when I tell you it felt like 2011 ish, being in the Superdome. Ooh. And I'm not at all comparing this team to that team.
Okay.
But what I mean is the atmosphere in the dome, in that not at one moment I didn't feel like the game was in jeopardy.
Yeah.
All right, Shaheed catches a 59-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what?
Damn.
We got this.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game felt like that. It was a party atmosphere. People were getting into it. And the vibes on the field. Like, I'm sure you noticed, like, the players seemed more, like the videos going around today of Fuaga and Jamal Williams with the little handshake thing they got going.
I posted that from our account. I was like 10 out of 10, no notes.
Like, reading the body language, Kamara, that's another one. You can see his body language during the game, in between plays and all of that. The players seemed like they were more engaged and had bought in. And last year, the biggest thing was their buy-in. That was the season-long debate. It was like, have they tuned out Dennis Allen? Have they bought in? And honestly, most of us, thought that they had not bought in and that they were tuning him out. The vibes this year look in this one game. But in this one game, it was a complete 180. The vibes felt back in the Superdome. Like the crowd, man. The crowd was feeling it. You were there.
Yeah.
You know it. Like the crowd was into it.
You say 2011.
Hey, man, look, again, let me clarify. I'm not saying this is – because that's the best team in Saints history.
You put it out. You set it up right. I mean, you said it made sense.
Just the vibes in the dome and just that not ever really doubting the outcome.
I'm going to raise the stakes. I haven't seen that since 2009. I remember vividly that week 1 game against Detroit, and we whooped their ass.
Yeah, we did. Matt
and
Stafford's
I left
first
that
game.
dome saying, holy shit, we might be the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, just like you, I'm not saying the Saints in 2024 are the best team in the NFL.
Right.
I will say, I am never going to shortchange a 37-point shellacking. I am not going to short. I don't care who the hell you're playing. 37-point victory margin is impressive. For this team, the team that we all been down on all offseason, that is impressive. I went to that game yesterday as well, Max, and I wanted to gauge what the atmosphere was like, right? Because I've been saying on social media all offseason, I feel like this was the lowest hype from the fan base since the 90s.
No
I
doubt.
feel like the hype was just...
Or at least like the most disgruntled. Like I don't recall...
complacent, like malcontent, like it just wasn't high.
Leading up this close to the year, so many fans, like the push and pull of like, I feel this about this. No, you can't feel that about that guy. Everybody's on opposite ends of the spectrum with our team leading up to the game.
Exactly. Now, as the game got closer, game day, I was like, you start to get a little... Because football.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Again, my brand this shit more than the game. I'm the face of it, but that's organic
true.
and true thing. We love football down here. And I was interviewing my guy, Holder Mayo. Friday before the season. Hasn't been released yet, but we were both like, look, man, as down as we are and maybe not confident on the team, we're going to get so many of these in our lifetimes, right?
Yeah,
like, we're going to get so many. Like, the average life expectancy is 70. I'm 36. Like, I got maybe half left of my life.
Shout out to your guy, because he put out a tweet.
Shout out Devin.
Talking about, I don't remember the exact wording of it. You probably do, but it was something to that effect. It's
I think he was motivated from that interview we did. That's why
it probably was.
But
it's like you said, you don't know how many of these game days you're going to have.
Exactly.
You can't take them for granted.
You really can't. I mean,
yeah. So I saw that tweet and I'm like,
like I said,
damn, it's spot on.
like you could say it's all corny and shit, but I mean, like that's
it's not corny.
That's corny. It's real.
Nah,
but it's real.
Bullshit.
But it's
Because
real.
I told you guys when you interviewed me last year, and I say part of this shit more than the game skit that's special to me is that I did it with my big brother who passed away like 3 months after. He lived to 40. So that's just a reminder to me of how short life can be. So I'm going to cherish every goddamn football season. I'm not saying that, fans should be hyped up or whatever. I'm not saying you got to put lipstick on the pig for your team every offseason. What I'm saying is because this shit is more than a game, the atmosphere was real good. You know,
it was great.
People were like, it's going to be half empty dome because the resale tickets and I was like, I think it's going to be still a good vibe. And when you whoop ass like that, I even tweeted, I say, the football gods could not have scripted that better for Mickey and Gail and Dennis. Like, you whip ass like that, now you capture the attention of even the most jilted fans. So you got to sustain it. When I hear y'all saying, we're going to whip the Cowboys ass this Sunday, I hope we do, because I'm going to Dallas for that game. Shout out to my wife's credit card.
Saw that. Good job on that.
But sustain it, and this is my last thing, because I keep tweeting this throughout the whole offseason. I tweeted it one last time before Sunday. I said, and some of the fans got mad at me because I went on Fox 8 and I said, if Derek Carr wins, he will win back over the fan base. Nah, Jono, what you mean? No.
I mean,
he
should.
You mean like over the course of the year or this
winning,
game?
just win.
Just
make the
winning.
playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
if he makes the playoffs and wins, I don't care how jilted you are. Like, winning is fun.
Yeah.
Winning cures all. I know that we're all so disheveled by how the past 3 years have gone, how bad last year we won 9 games, but how bad last year went. But winning literally cures all, and I'm going to stand on it. I don't care how much you hate a player. If the Saints are in the playoffs in January, when that ball gets kicked off at 12 p.m., even the biggest Derek Carr hater is going to be watching with popcorn in the hand and like, let's whoop that ass, whoever the hell we playing. So come on, man, miss me with that.
Well,
to
echo what you said, winning does in fact cure everything. And here's a prime example. You guys remember with the whole kneeling during the flag, all that stuff was going on. And you remember that segment of the Saints fan base?
I do.
We're done.
That said,
the producer of this podcast, like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, no, but they're like, we're not watching the Saints. We're not going to support them.
Yeah.
They started off, I want to say 0-2 that year, but then they rattled off all the wins, and guess what? Every single one of those people were watching the games, supporting the team, going to the game, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
As a fan, we just want to see a team win.
And the advent of Twitter, and even before Twitter, there was call-in shows with Buddy T. You know, use your squirrel. Get out of here.
One of your hairs just flew across the screen.
I think that was dust. That wasn't one of my hairs. I'm keeping them all.
There you go.
That's what Jesuit does to you.
Yeah. Look, a rigorous education comes with some level of stress, all right?
I didn't stress it much, but, maybe you did.
Looks like you stressed.
Hey, man. You can be there with me.
I know I can, but I won't.
Some of the best humans in history have been bald.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Michael Jordan.
Oh, there you go.
Come on.
We could stop the list right there. That's enough.
Yeah, I know. Those two
There's
are right there.
There's a lot. But anyway, where was I going? You maybe lost my train of thought. No, but I got it back. There's Internet Brave, right? Where it's so easy for someone to sit behind a keyboard and type out all this negative shit just so that, it's the people that expect the worst and hope for the best. And sure, you can apply that to certain areas. But, I mean, come on, Mike. You cheer for a sports team to enjoy yourself. You cheer for a sports, or maybe you do it just because you didn't have a choice. Like a lot of Saints fans, you just come up in it. I just came up in it, but I also enjoy it. And it's kind of like you can be Internet Brave and type a bunch of negative shit, thinking that there's a better chance of them being bad than there is good. And if I type out all this negative shit, then I'll be right. Okay, I'll be correct. Or before the internet, it was calling into the radio shows and saying, hey, we got to get rid of this Jim Everett dude. He sucks. And look, maybe that guy was right, okay? But the guys that called in and were like, I don't know about getting these linebackers from the USFL. Well, that dude was wrong, right?
Sam Mills, baby.
Tale as old as time. And so the thing is, like, let's just get behind the team, and it doesn't mean you have to be a Carr hater per se. But I agree. Like if he starts winning, then
it'll change. Everything will change.
Call a
at
spade
that
a
point.
spade.
Yeah.
But I will give it because you mentioned your boy Devin. We'll have to get him in the studio one of these days.
Got it.
But he's kind of made. I don't know if it's an official alliance, but we're Twitter followers, and he follows us now on Twitter. His regular caller, yeah, I'm live. and he's still not ready to get behind Derek Carr. I think his last rant was something about like one fucking game, and like
hey, it is one game.
A bunch of shit that we won't even say on this podcast. But it's got I'm not like knocking the dude personally, and I hope he listens to us and hears us out. But
hey man, everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Exactly, and I'm not going to knock you for just having the opinion. But I'm curious to see. He's clearly on the furthest entrenched F Derek Carr bandwagon. I'm curious to see, like to your point, where is it going to go to get even guys like him on board?
Well, you see, it's the social media age we live in now, where people are more concerned with being right at the end, and they will sacrifice their enjoyment of the product. You know what I mean? Like, I genuinely think there are people who are like, I would rather see Derek Carr throw 0 touchdowns and 30 interceptions this season just so I can get on social media and say, see, I typed fuck this guy 8 months ago. I was right. As opposed to saying, you know what? Let's give this guy a chance. Maybe he improves in year 2, takes this team to the playoffs possibly. Maybe you win a game, and at that point, just get behind him.
Right.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, I don't want to make it seem like any of us are knocking any fan for how they feel or if they're negative. Like,
Not at all.
I always say, fan how you want to fan. Like, if they if they think that us being bad is the better future because it'll make Derek Carr leave and Dennis get fired, more power to you. I'm saying me personally, and I think the majority of fans, maybe the ones who, the silent minority is always the loudest on Twitter, right? But the majority of fans, that's the ones
with
that
any topic.
to it. Yeah, anything. Politics, everything.
Yeah.
I'm not one who's going to sacrifice my entertainment. And I still, to this day, I'm going to put it on record, like, I still have us at like 7, 8 wins. Like, yesterday didn't change my mind.
I got us at 7.
My ceiling went up, I would say that. Like, my ceiling at
I'm
first, I was like,
the one of us that picked 10.
I say my best case was 9 wins. After yesterday, I'm like, that could be a 10-win team. A lot has to go right. I get it, but my ceiling went up.
And health.
My floor is still the same, and I'm gonna still stick with my floor unless they really like show me something against Dallas and Philly. I got to see it for 2 straight weeks.
You literally just said what I have been thinking for the last 24 hours because I predicted 7 and 10 on our season preview.
Yeah, I'll just check out right now. If y'all
no,
need a
no,
little
Buck,
moment.
really?
I got rid of Nick. I'm just trying to get
Y'all need a little moment here.
I'm Jono Barnes.
I need to get another beer. I'll be right back.
No, but where I'm
I
going
hear
with
there's
this
a good drink
is,
at Blue Oak.
but now I changed my thought process. Went from 7 was the most I could see
Okay.
to where I'm like, you know what, 7 might be the floor now, and I could see Corey being right because Corey did predict 10, and now I could see 10. Like 10 to me.
Let's just pause on that. You could see me being right.
Yeah,
That's
look, I mean, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Max just made a very big admission. That
I'm
was
so
very
glad
tough
we
for
got
Max
this
to
on
do.
video.
Just want to take a moment for that.
What's the old saying? A broken clock is right, twice a day? Yeah, so I don't know.
I wouldn't know. I don't live life by those kind of mantras, Max.
I mean, you were bound to get something right, so. And
One
it
of
hasn't
these-
happened yet.
One of these days.
It has not happened yet.
Been a
but
Saints fan for 39 years. Shout out Curtis DeLoach. But
I will say, though, your hot takes this year, everything lined up. There was a cohesiveness about them that I think was missing last year.
Jawan had a top 5 play. Is that the one you're talking about?
Did you? You probably didn't hear this. You want to go ahead and let Jono in on that wonderful...
I'm falling on my own sword here. Because we were talking about... We were going through our season preview, breaking down position groups, and we got to the tight end room. And
The one episode I didn't listen to.
yeah, that's the one. It was 2 hours long, so I don't fault you.
No,
for that.
I've just been traveling so much the past.
Yeah. No, Jono, we appreciate the way he listens because he wants to be plugged in, right? He's active listening.
I genuinely do my best, by the way.
Even if you're a passive listener, we'll take it. Stats are stats, right? Numbers are numbers.
I want to support everybody. So when I do my content, like I pull on you, Ross Jack, like all the content creators, like the ones who support
Ross is
me.
the man, by
I
the
like-
way.
And I'm like, that's something I'm like, that's only hours of the day that I can consume. But I try my best. I genuinely try my best
Oh
to
yeah,
support
no, you're good.
everybody.
Ross was a must listen during training camp out in Irvine because I swear to God they had I'm not going on conspiracy theory about what the Saints media department was telling all the media guys about what they could and could not put up, but I swear there was less information coming out of California than I was used to when they were out at Airline, and so having Ross on a daily, because he can't not do a daily podcast. That's how Locked On works. Like he has to do a daily podcast. So he was one of the only guys like putting out new information like every single, sometimes twice a day. But I digress. Anyway, tight end position, I don't even know how it came up, but I was like, and then we got Foster, who's looking like.
We prepped him enough. Just go ahead and tell him what you said.
I said at his maximum potential in reference to Juwan Johnson. If he plays to his out of his mind every single game, all 17 games, doesn't get hurt, he could have a top 5. He could be a top 5 tight end.
Top 5 in the league.
And I said it.
Not
just
top 5 on the Saints. Top 5 in the
and
league.
Look, I'm not.
Top 5
let me just say, I'm not going to sit here and defend this with like battle armor and like I would have about some of my other takes.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But it just kind of, the thing with the hot takes is that I tell Max, like,
this wasn't even a hot take, though.
This was just
this was a
that's what I'm saying.
standard in the flow of
the
conversation.
The best hot takes on this podcast, and even when we're talking out at the bar or next to the car on the way out or whatever it is, they just kind of come out when I'm not expecting it. Like, there's shit that I say sometimes, and I'm a lawyer by trade, right? So most of what I say 9 to 5 is very deliberate. Like, I get paid to be deliberate in what I say. Maybe that's the issue. Like, I get paid to just be very calculated in what I say all the time, every day. And then when I'm off the clock, I'm just like, oh, whatever. And so I just said it. And there's things I say that I don't even remember. I mean, I remember saying it, but I didn't even think I was going to say it. Like, I surprised myself. So I said that, and of course y'all jumped down my throat, as I thought y'all would. We didn't have it on video, but Nick pulled his face down like this.
I think I levitated out of my chair.
You did like you were at a horror movie. You were just like and Nick, I could see the red under his eyeballs. He like pulled his face down. I was like, oh shit, I really did something here. And he was like, you're killing me, Corey. You're killing me. And I let y'all kind of jump down my throat like y'all should have. And then I kind of capped the conversation with like, look, guys, y'all are going crazy on me right now for just saying that some dude's a top 10 tight end.
You said top 5.
And so that's how I got out of it. Like I kind of.
So here's the perfect comparison for it.
But Juwan, he had a good game.
So you've seen.
He had a touchdown. Say a good game.
Well, yeah, you're right.
You've seen Coming to America, obviously.
Of course.
Okay. Barbershop scene. When they're talking about how old Joe Louis was.
I haven't seen the movie, by the way.
And you know how the age just keeps going up.
Shazzy with people,
and up,
bro.
and up, and up.
You can
and it ends up with Joe Louis 137 years old. Corey started off at 5, then it was 10, top 10, and then it's like top 20 by the end of the podcast. That number kept going up.
Top 25.
Because I'll let the viewers and now viewers and listeners in on a little bit of inside baseball here. Is that we try our damnedest. Like we all know. And you too, probably when you're on your YouTube and you're spitting with your listeners and and viewers and stuff, and you just say shit,
Trust
and
me,
then
I say so many things. I'm glad I don't have a huge audience because I would get racked to the coals about.
When you've put something out there and you wish it's like when Chris Collinsworth, as awful as he is in colors, like he probably wishes he could have that pass back.
Yeah,
hey, you got a good Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah, I slip into impressions every day. Max loves my impressions.
He's gonna do it for the rest of the show.
Max loves my impressions.
That's all he was looking for was your validation of this.
I tell you.
I like Chris Collinsworth. That's a good one.
Anyway, but he wishes he could have that pass back. There's a lot of passes I wish I could have back while recording, and shit happens, So
I would say
the inside baseball part is like the one thing we try to avoid at all costs, unless we're just having a mature moment, is to say the phrase, "You know what? I take it back."
Yeah, well, there are no takebacks on this podcast.
And so instead of saying, okay, guys, calm down. I take it back. He's not. I just decided in the moment, like, hey, look.
No, you got to lean into it.
I leaned into it for a little bit, and then
we're in an entertainment business,
just hit y'all
folks.
with the like y'all going crazy about a top 10 take. I didn't say top 5 or anything.
No, you handled it well. It was much better than the Lorenzo Neal debacle.
Not only when you tune into this podcast or you watch it, you get breakdown of the Saints games and breakdowns of us breaking down the Saints games.
Well, so here's the intent of this podcast, and we've been over this before. I don't think we've actually ever verbally said this for the listeners.
I appreciate you being here for this rundown, Jono.
Yeah, but the whole point of this podcast is to replicate what it's like when you're sitting in someone's backyard. It is. You're with your boys. Someone throws out a hot take. We'll just say that.
Or you're sitting in
or you're at a bar, whatever.
Cars in a parking lot, like anywhere
whatever.
you can
You're just with buddies.
Like,
Someone throws out an insanely stupid take, as Corey is wont to do, and everyone else in the crowd has just got to fucking jump down his throat and fuck with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how.
And there's no offense taken.
There's no offense. There should not be any offense taken.
The first time, Max
it's entertainment, it's sports, it's fun. It's fun. Like all of this.
I met Max.
On social media.
It's all football because there's no other.
The story of Max and I meeting is probably made for Lifetime TV. right? No,
I'm a Hallmark guy myself, but
nah, it's probably something else like a Jerry Springer show. Like we met because of our ex-wives.
Right.
I didn't even know y'all had ex-wives. Wow, I'm learning a lot tonight, guys.
We each only have one though, so like that's all right.
I hope my wife doesn't join that club. Jeez.
Nah, you keep using her credit card the way you do, you'd be just fine.
That's the problem. So I'm using her credit card. She might be like, I'm with
when she gets the email saying, "Was this you?" and she's clearly
Well,
saying,
she'll see
yeah.
the video before she gets the email.
Obviously, she's saying yes because you're still going to Dallas. You still went to all those games I've seen you go to.
No, y'all don't understand.
So that's love, man. Shout out, hey,
I love you,
Clarissa. You're doing all right.
But
you're doing all right.
That's not
Cheers.
totally true. Yeah. Cheers.
And Lizzie and I met her at Cafe Du Monde. We had a little meet up with Jono and Clarissa. That was cool.
Where were you at, Max, on Mardi Gras? Me and Corey.
Y'all lay low.
We was getting lit, bro.
Shit
was more than a Tuesday.
We were like,
it was more than a Tuesday.
We were like Derek Carr in the NFL new graphic holding the beignets.
Come on.
Hey.
I ride in Endymion.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
usually the Sunday and Monday and Tuesday afterwards are pretty much
rejuvenate,
I eat a shit ton of Popeyes.
You basically
and,
I had Popeye. I kid you not. Corey, you and me meeting up for a few seconds was also part of that. That was probably the best Mardi Gras.
It was a good.
I got to ride in Zulu twice, so I don't want to.
I'm gonna get you on Endymion, man.
But
I've invited him. He doesn't. He's too cool for it.
I had an uncle ride in Zulu, and
I love it. I love both.
True. Like they gotta look. I mean, call spade a bit. Like they gotta have white dudes ride.
This year's Mardi Gras was the first I've had in a while where I was actually like, this is actually the first time I actually was at Mardi Gras.
Zulu is a bucket list for me.
Oh, really?
Like, first time.
I want to do
5 years
the whole
old.
thing. Like, shout out
That was
Zulu.
my first time in
is-
the French Quarter, and I had a ball.
Yeah.
And I was
Wait, where'd you go in the quarter? Did you do bourbon or you went to like St. Anne?
We did everything.
Oh, you did
We
everywhere.
walked- Me and
Okay.
my wife, we always say we're young. This is our time to like do the long tracks of wherever we go while we can still do. It was just great. The atmosphere, the food. People were like stopping me, and I'm used to it. And I'm not trying to sound cocky, but like I'm used to people stopping me now at
cool.
Saints games.
Yeah.
But like when you are in the heart of the city during the biggest time of our year, and people are like, "No man, it was a lot."
And you
I
don't
was
like to your
whoa,
credit, like
I'm actually doing something special if I'm getting.
I feel like some people like when they're following like yours, not just like tuning your horn. Like it's increased a lot just from like last season to this season.
Yeah,
and then
no,
we go
absolutely
before
has.
that. Like you could easily, not easily, but like it's not a New Orleans thing to do. But if you were in any other city, you wouldn't be wearing the "This Year More Than a Game" shirt to the game. If you wanted not to be bothered, you'd be wearing something incognito.
Yeah,
but the fact that you show up in your brand T-shirt, it's just you. You're not. There's no hat on. There's no sunglasses. Anything like that's pretty awesome because you know that. I mean, you have to. I would think that like by showing up like that, people are gonna be like, "Oh, that you're Jono," or what is it? The lady that talked to your mom. You talked about her last. Are you Juno's mom?
Yeah.
So
not that I like wear it to get noticed. It's to me, I have a PR background, so it's like it's marketing. Like,
well, I wear that's like I mean, like no one. Okay, newsflash: I don't paint myself up like Dar Saint, right? So I'll wear the
Maybe
podcast T-shirt, and even on like the walk back to my car, even though I wasn't going to the game. And you never know. You think you have an idea who your target is as podcasters, and this unassuming, just mom looking ladies. Maybe even like young grandma. Like, yeah, she's nice looking lady. Like walking with her husband, short. And she goes, "Where'd you get that T-shirt?" And I was like, "It's mine. It's for my podcast." And she acted like she knew me. I was like, "I don't think I know you," but she goes, "I didn't know you had a podcast." And I was like, "It's the 28-3 podcast. F the Falcons, go Saints." She goes, "How can I listen to it?" I was like, "Well, I got a sticker." Max wrote the website on the back, and here you go. Apple, Spotify, where you want to find it now.
You probably need to do something a little better than writing it with a Sharpie.
No, that's New Orleans, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's like a Mardi Gras cup. Like
that's true.
That's why I like doing McCoy at my house. It's like, okay, I ain't got no professional studio. Like this is like,
and that's what I love about our fan base.
We're not Stephen A. Smith. Like we're doing it with fans.
I joke about
maybe we'd love to get to that point one day, but
yeah. And I know we'll make our way back to the Panthers game at some point, but we're this is fun.
I mean, honestly, what is there to really talk about? We kicked the shit out of them.
We kicked the shit out of them. Yeah.
Well, I would like to
Bryce
know,
Young sucks.
Everybody's thoughts on the Cowboys. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But I will say one thing about our fan base, and I feel like every time Jono comes on, like we get into the Saints fan base because like it just we're such a unique deal. And I will say, I catch a lot of shit sometimes for having gone to Georgia, and I get that, especially my LSU peeps. And then every now and then people really piss me off, and I guess I can't blame them because they just assume like, oh, you got to wear red and black, so like you're with the Falcons now, like you kind of okay with the Falcons. I'm like, fuck no. And honestly, I do have a hard and fast rule. Like, like you get the personal superstitions. Like even when no one's around, you start to feel kind of ooh, I can't do that. So I have a hard line between the red and black away for Georgia on Saturday because it's Bulldog red and black. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with the Falcons, even though they're like 60 miles away. I will not wear red and black on Sundays, even if it's in the off season.
That's some truth. This shit more than the game spirit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I will wear Saints shit, but if it's a Georgia shirt, I do not wear Georgia shirts on Sundays.
I love it.
I'll wear Saints shit on Saturdays if it's all I'm wearing or if Georgia's not playing. But every now and then I'll like have a Saints shirt on and I'll go grab just like sometimes the first hat up on the hat rack is the Georgia hat. And when I put it on, I just like, oh shit. I kind of like throw it off. So like, but my point is that having been away and having gone to a couple of Falcons games, Saints-Falcons games, having friends that I went to college with are fans of Tennessee Titans, going to a Saints-Titans game for preseason, you get to know these people from other NFL fan bases. You get to get a little taste of their broadcast network, how they tailgate for games, and what the game experience is like for them, and who the sponsors are. You know, should I pay attention to? Maybe other people don't care, but like, it is all so like organized and corporate and cookie cutter, and it's almost like you're at a like something between a Broadway play and
that's giving them a bit too much credit. They're not that highbrow.
No, but I mean like it's all so orchestrated and deliberate and like trying to be perfect. Even when you listen to their radio teams, you know, we got Mike Hoss and Deuce, and even before that we had Jim Henderson and Hokie. And, you know, you got Bobby on the radio now, who we all know how Bobby sounds. I'm not going to do the impression, Max, but what have you done for me lately?
That sounds more like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, that sounded,
that was terrible.
He got me. Max just helped his head. I was like, I really went for it there. I kind of went for it. And then, you know, Mike Detillier and Deke Bellavia. And it's like, there aren't other fan bases like that. You can't be on the radio in Atlanta, in Tennessee, L.A., unless you sound exactly like a newscast reporter. And here we are. And it's,
none of our people sound like maybe
so,
Ross Jackson.
That's about Look at me with my
so this is my extremely wording and rambling way in the in the theme of this discussion that like I like the way our fan base is. I like that we can have shit handwritten on a sticker. We can have Jono at the game just telling people this shit more than a game, just shouting it, and then people go Google it and they're like, oh, there's Jono, he's on YouTube. You know, we're not perfect. Like, we got our warts, and we roll the way we roll. I mean,
we embrace it.
Our main dude wore a damn wedding dress outside the dome after we won the Super Bowl because our other guy before him died, and he said he would do it. You know, like, that's
you remember the Buddy D dress run? The Super Bowl year? That was amazing.
Yeah. I didn't go, but it was awesome.
You didn't go?
No, well, I was actually, I couldn't.
You were back, weren't you, at that point?
I was back. I was in law school, so there was there were some points in the seat.
I thought it was before the Super Bowl.
It was the week before.
He said
so there was the off week in between the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, and we all went to the quarter. And
said
it
if
was
if we make the Super Bowl, we'll do it. Yeah, that shit's
maybe
awesome. Like
you can't.
There's a picture of Justin. There's a picture of Justin in a dress. I got to find it for you. It's funny.
Love it. But you know, you can't tell me, and I know from having been in and around the Falcons fan base at least, and knowing people from other NFL fan bases, like that shit doesn't happen in other places. There might be like maybe Green Bay, maybe Buffalo. Sure, you know, y'all want to come challenge me from Green Bay, Buffalo? Like I'll jump on some tables with y'all, and I'll do some cheese curds and all that shit that you do in Green Bay. We play them there this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Anyway, I had to go on that long riff about.
He's basically saying this shit more than a game.
This is like what Dan and Mike do on.
That would have been the short way to say it, I think.
The Cliff Notes version.
Have you ever known me to say something the short?
Corey went full on War and Peace on that one, and
because we're so excited, man. Like Sunday was. So anyway, it was fun. Fun is not overrated, folks. Fun is fun.
If you're still listening, and maybe we've edited this part out, but I bring that up, Jono, because you bring that shit to our fan base. You know. Like it's great. It's fucking great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, this shit is more than a game, and that win Sunday was more than an ass whooping. So much so that when you guys before the show brought up Isaiah Fosk, I was like, damn, I didn't even. He got to look into with him, Payne Turner, and thankfully Trevor Penning, which we didn't hear his name a lot, which means it's a good thing. Like if we don't hear about Trevor Penning. And I was like, that really was a good game. Like if the whipping mules of the fan base right now were hardly mentioned, then we really had a successful Sunday.
I will say there was a lot of plays where Penning was doing his job. Payne Peyton Turner was in the backfield a couple times, didn't finish. Chase Young was just like this close, like the entire game.
A lot of pressures.
But
yes.
They had to save all the sacks for Alontae Taylor. That's what they were doing. They were like, we got to let Alontae go.
Hey, man, that's the
Future
old
defensive
Roman
player
Harper
of the
rule.
year.
I decided it was Alontae Taylor's Beetlejuice game.
See, hold on. You say
his name three
I
times.
think like Von Bell, because Von Bell was the one who I vividly remember like always.
Wow, man, Roman had 8 or 9 sacks that
Really?
one season.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
having a blank with that one. Then.
Ah, man, he was way better than Von Bell was at that.
No, I think Von Bell was pretty great at that.
He was good, but
I gotta
Roman,
get the
what did
stats,
Roman
but-
hit? 8 or 9 sacks that
I
one
don't
year.
remember, but
It's our Super Bowl year.
we're gonna ask him next time he's on the pod.
Shout out to Roman, man. Shout out to Roman.
We're gonna say, hey Roman. So we had Jono on, and
He gonna be like, who's Jono?
who's a better sack artist? You or Von Bell?
Hey, man, the defense balled out. The offense balled out. I wonder.
7.5 that year. 2011.
All right, now go look up Von Bell's.
All right.
And we'll see if he ever had.
Is
any
he
more
still
sacks.
on the Bengals?
No,
No, I think he got.
Oh, he might be back. I know he went
Maybe.
to the Panthers, and then
I know the
think
Bengals eliminated me in survival.
They did to me
Good,
too.
Come
yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I'm not
I've done
in any,
survival for like 20 years now. I feel like half those years I always get eliminated in week 1.
I haven't done a Survivor yet. I'm doing the.
Von
Dan-
Bell tapped out at 4.5, and was the most. Other than that, never more than 1.5.
All right, I
So.
apologize to you, Mr. Roman Harper.
As well, you should.
I'm in a pick 'em though with Dan and Mike. I jumped in. They posted something about and it's mostly in England. I had to donate, have PayPal convert the British pound to dollars, but it's like the JTT Cup goes with charity. It's a good cause. So
There you go.
I'm in there pick 'em. I'm 10-5 so far, but I was like, oh, that seems pretty good, and I'm in 143 place
Jesus.
out of 250.
well, you know.
Well, let's get back to the game, though. So, no, Alontae Taylor, amazing performance, 3 sacks, was just awesome. Chase Young, pressures all day long.
Yeah.
The offense.
Clint goddamn Kubiak.
Dude,
yeah.
huh?
Good Lord, it's P. Carmichael all along.
Yep.
Y'all watch?
Yep.
Do y'all watch Marvel shows?
I do. Agatha all along,
It
yes.
was Carmichael all along. Good Lord, like.
Can we
and-
just say anyone who took shit with Carmichael was right?
Come on, man. And shout out to the media, man, because like Ross and John Hendricks and Nick Underhill and Ryan Walker, they were like, what we're seeing in training camp because the fans couldn't go. This is not what they are doing in the preseason games. Because I was like, man, this looks like, average. What we've seen in preseason. They were like, trust us, guys. Like, there's motions.
Yeah.
And man, watching that game. And I'm at the
Dude.
top of the top, right? So I've got like the all 20
Yeah.
view.
Yeah.
Bro, at one point, we had Taysom in the back here. Alvin was at wide receiver.
Rasheed was
I'm
in the
like,
backfield,
and
too,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is fun. This is
Yeah.
modern. This is God
ref-
bless Clint Kubiak. And I'm not saying that to say like, oh, Sean Payne and his system is outdated. I do think Sean Payne
Yeah.
seems to have a bit of
He's having
resistancy
difficulties without Breeze.
adjusting to like mobile quarterback. Not that we have one. I'm just saying. It seems
Right.
like he's like because Bo Nix didn't do anything. Instead, like he could run, and it seems like Sean Payne just
He had a
has
few good
this-
runs, yeah.
He has this hard on. Like even when I remember when Taysom was named starter, I was like, oh, Sean Payne's going to open up the playbook. Like we're going, and he had Taysom playing and Drew like stay in the pocket. I'm like, the Sean Payne just is allergic to like.
Yeah.
Mobile. Maybe he's scarred that he doesn't want to. Either way, I'm going off a tangent.
Yeah.
The motions that we had yesterday, the
Yeah.
lineup, it was a thing of beauty. I really am because Dallas is a good defense. I cannot wait to see it.
It was.
Sunday.
I told my wife, I said, this is football porn right now.
It was Nirvana.
Because
I
I'm
say
sitting
Nirvana
here.
to my wife.
Dude, we're sitting, we're
It was fun.
We're on like the 20-yard line, and when they're on our side of the field, we can see everything perfectly. The other side, not as much. You have to watch the screen. But on our side, like I'm watching, Rasheed go to backfield with Taysom, and Kamara's out in the slot, and it's just like, look at all this movement. People were in different positions, and it was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
After last year, where we went on and on and on about why is there no motion?
Right.
Why is there
No
no
play action, like
kind
the
of trickery?
basics.
What was last year? Last year, in a nutshell, was literally Keith Kirkwood and Lynn Burden are on the field. Oh, it's a run.
That's what I was.
That
gonna,
was last year in a nutshell, and
Yeah.
it drove me fucking insane
That's-
because I could tell what the plays were going to be before they came in.
That's what I was going to get into from my take. Is that it is refreshing as hell
To not know what's happening.
To not be able to diagnose your own offense's plays
Yeah.
when the most football knowledge you have is just from watching the NFL on TV. And I'm not even going to talk about Jesuit high school football because I talk about that enough. But like when you as a layperson can just look at the offense and say it's a run play because Bowden and Kirkwood came in. Oh, Bowden and Kirkwood are leaving. Olave and Shaheed are back in as pass play.
Not even as a layperson,
but-
as a drunk layperson
That, yes.
who's
But-
like half paying attention and is having
but it-
conversations, and I'm like,
but
oh, that's a run.
But then, so part of my point, there's layers too. So
Yeah.
it's like you couldn't diagnose what's happening on the field at the time. And then you go back after the game and you're looking on Twitter, and then you're seeing things that you didn't even notice when it was happening. Like when they motioned, a simple 15-yard in that Olave caught over the middle, and I think it was the first quarter. They motioned Olave out of the backfield to do an empty set, and then 2 Carolina Panthers went with him, or at least moved. And then Olave caught the ball in the same airspace that the 2 Carolina Panthers had moved out of. You see some of the running plays where they've got Fuaga coming way out, and then you've got Olave setting an edge. And Olave did a great job blocking.
He did. And I saw Nick did an article about how Olave wanted to take
and then
that
in the Juwan Johnson touchdown, where you saw everyone watches the Juwan Johnson touchdown and was thinking he got his feet in, great ass catch, good throw from Carr. Wow, he was wide open. And then you can only really go back after, because I don't think they showed it or diagnosed it as much on replay. But Taysom Hill and Rashid Shaheed were in the backfield.
Yeah, that's the play I was talking about.
Things that you can't even tell until you go out after the game and figure that shit out. And it just, I love it.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw out another Marvel reference for you. I like watching this offense in action was like the end of Endgame when old Cap comes back.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of sitting there and he's just got that just proud look on his face. Like that was me watching this offense.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was awesome to see that. Cause we really didn't get to see it in the preseason.
Right.
It was a very vanilla scheme. They weren't game planning for any opposing defenders or anything like that. So they, you keep things under wraps in the preseason.
Yeah.
So for them to come out in week 1 when offenses traditionally struggle in week 1.
Yeah.
Like look around the NFL yesterday. There weren't a lot of points scored.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think Josh Allen had 5 yards passing or something at halftime.
Shout out to Josh Hill, by the way.
Yeah, geez. That's Corey's guy, by the way.
Yeah. Me and Josh Hill, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Yeah, but
I've heard he's a nice guy, but Josh Hill on the field.
The point is, man, just watching that
Allen.
was so exciting and it made me happy.
Exactly.
To see an offense that looked like it had a plan.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was no plan last season or the season before.
I know the Panthers are bad, but by all accounts, their defense is not supposed to be
because
a bad defense.
Everybody thought it was going to be a slugfest of a defensive game. So that's why I'm not going to shortchange.
That's what I keep going back and forth with in my head.
They traded their best defender, to be fair.
Brian Burns, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Brown's still playing. He's out for the season.
Now he's out, yeah.
But there was some plays where they just looked like either they were giving up or they just had no idea what the hell we were doing, and they had no answer for it. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned your fellow Jesuit Blue Jay, Foster Moreau. That was a good catch. He did great play for him to improvise, but he still got rocked on it. And he caught that. I'm like, I wish he did that in the Jacksonville game. But that was his first.
And that was one of those passes from Carr. I didn't think about it at the time where, he threw back across the field.
Yeah, that was a Jameis type play. When I watched the replay, I was like, woo.
I looked at my brother. Exactly. I was sitting there with my brother. I was like, dude, that had Jameis energy.
That's when you feeling yourself. That's when the team man, everything
But on the replay, he had a passing lane and stuff. But I'm like, if that would have gone the wrong way, then
you can't.
But it didn't. So I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, Foster held on the ball. He squeezed it tight, got his feet in.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from yesterday was just the fact that we're going to be competent on offense. There's going to be a plan from week to week.
Right.
I'm excited, man, talking about the Cowboys game to see how we go about attacking that defense, because that defense is rock solid.
I'm scared of Trevor versus Mika. That's going to be a test. That's going to be
Clint, man. Parsons is terrifying.
Because Trevor enough. Help him.
Because I feel better about the prospect.
You got 2 good cornerbacks as well.
Right.
Oh, man.
Well, I saw one of their cornerbacks might be out because I know Jake Ferguson is out this Sunday now. And I think I saw someone tweet, dang, the Cowboys also have their best cornerback. I could be.
I feel like we'll do well against their offense because none of the running backs really – they don't really scare me. Like Zeke Elliott is in as good a shape as Corey right now. So,
you say?
What does he run, like a 5.5 at this point? So, but it's
and that's if there's a Waffle House involved.
Yeah, exactly. But
shout out Zeke.
but on defense, it's tough because their strengths, I think, match up very well with our offense.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see
I
how
hate to
Kubiak.
say they are behind us, and I guess you could give them more credit because the Browns were a playoff team, but they were probably the most impressive, arguably, NFC team yesterday.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to take a step back this year, honestly. And that was only week one, like, just for everybody. It's week one. Like,
look, weird shit happens in the first 2 weeks.
Exactly. Right. So, but I'm excited. I think I saw Brady's calling the game, so I feel bad for you guys because if he does what he did yesterday, I'm going to be at the stadium. I know, and I got nothing against Brady, but, like, the shit that they were giving Drew when he was calling NBC game, I said, y'all better keep that same energy for time. Like, give me a
it seems like they are.
Good. I've been so busy, like I haven't been on social media the way I want. I usually am at least, but like there was a lot of dead air, like where it's like the announcer was like, "Brady, you got to say something," but he can't say it out loud, and it's just like 3 seconds, and that's not how. Either way,
like Greg Olson's got to be pretty.
They
pissed
got
right now.
They got now because this is a 12 p.m. game, and I remember in the offseason I was like, "Damn, you know how bad the Saints got to be for them to put the Cowboys at 12 p.m." They never put the Cowboys at 12 p.m.
Yeah.
But if they're giving Brady the game, then that means that okay, they say, "Well, the Saints did something noteworthy enough that this is not an interesting game."
Yeah.
Question for you guys: do you, after as great as the game was, do you leave with any concerns from the game? Is there something? Because I will say, -1 Lattimore. It's starting to get a little annoying, and I don't know how long he's out for. But I'm like, especially because if one thing I will always give Dennis Adams, he knows how to coach a goddamn defense, and he knows how to coach a secondary. So if Lattimore misses any extended time, I will finally be accepting if the front office says in the offseason, okay, Lattimore, our defense is just as good without you. It's time. We can't pay you $100 million to miss 4 to 6 games a year. I hope not. I love Lattimore. But like when I saw he went out again, I was like, this is getting kind of old, Lattimore. So I'm a little concerned about that because we got CeeDee Lamb coming up. Boy, Paulson Odebo wants to guarantee himself a big contract this offseason. If he can go in, if Lattimore doesn't play and shut down, or at least keep Lamb in check, he can literally make himself like $70, $80 million off this game.
Prove it game.
Along.
Yeah.
And I do think Bryce Young is bad, guys. I'm sorry, and I hate to root against black quarterbacks, to be honest. But the game is the game. Like, I gotta hate Mike Penix now because he's with the like his game is a game. This shit more than a game. So I hope he's a bust. But Bryce Young has shown me nothing since he's been drafted to make me go. That's why he's the number 1 pick. Yeah. Even like some plays where they could have had like a competent, like a Dak Prescott will make some of the plays that I saw Bryce Young miss. So I do think, as great as it was to get some pressure from Turner and Cam and Chase, we got to finish it this Sunday. Like, because some of the throws and things that Bryce was missing, a Dak Prescott is not going to miss. So those were my probably 2 concerns that I'm like, we got to shore up a little bit because we're going up in the weight class Sunday. The Cowboys are a different weight class than Carolina.
Yeah, big time.
No, I agree with both of those. I do think offensive line, to me, is still a concern. You know, that Panthers pass rush is toothless. They really don't have any. They don't pack much of a punch with Burns being gone. So I'm concerned about that. I think Parsons is. We're going to see if we can scheme against a strong defense because look, we didn't get to see the Saints play the 49ers in the preseason, and more importantly, we didn't get to see them really match up in practice. Because remember, they were supposed to have the joint practices, and that was at the height of Penning is bad, and we need to see where we're at because that's a chance to test them against
Nick Bosa,
arguably the best defense in the league. But the thing is, we never got to see that.
And we don't know really what we saw on Sunday, too, because going into the year, when you said the first few games for Penning are probably going to be Jadeveon Clowney, Micah Parsons, and then who they got for the Eagles?
There's a bunch of them on the
Bunch
Eagles.
of them. Anyway.
Zach Bond now.
Oh, my God.
Bond's going to be like, I know.
Hey, that's when you know you had a good Sunday when I completely forgot about the Zach Bond game on Friday. And Davenport, I know he got hurt, so people still got their but he had a sack. And I was like, I don't even give a shit. I'm like,
but to echo what you said about Lattimore, like, Nick is the biggest Lattimore fan there is. So it's almost fitting that you brought it up.
I love Lattimore, by the way.
We all do. He's been an amazing player for us. The reality is, the last 2 seasons, he's been hurt a lot. This season, getting nicked up in the first game.
Yeah, training camp.
That contract, I honestly think he's gone in the offseason, one way or the other, whether it's a trade or I don't think he's going to be here because you can't re-sign a Debo and have Lattimore, and then you're going to have to re-sign Alante the following year if you want to keep him. And then you got Kool-Aid coming up the year after. So, to me, I think 2 of those guys are probably not going to get re-signed or moved. You know what I mean?
We got Rico Payton to step up.
Dude, look, if DA can do anything, it's coach, cornerbacks, and defensive backs. So
Sean Payne can make any quarterback look competent. DA can make any cornerback look competent.
Yeah.
So it might be easy make it easier for the front office to get. Now, I love Lattimore. I think when Lattimore is healthy, he is a top 3 cornerback.
Yeah.
Is that a hot take? All right, so I want you
No,
to
that's
jump-
not a hot
I want
take.
y'all to jump on me.
I don't think that's
That's not a hot take. Jumped on Corey. But no, I mean,
that's far cooler than my
just like
Juwan.
with Kendrick Minnick, it's frustrating. Like, okay, like you can't help us from the top, and well, we're not paying Kendrick. We're paying Lattimore a lot of money, and if he is going to miss another 5 or 6 games, then it's going to suck because I love him. But
the way the market's looking, not to go on this tangent, but it's like you got to start deciding. Are we paying our top corner money? Are we paying our top receiver money? Because every position now is getting into a lot of millions per year.
Right.
But I want to go back though to like looking at the Cowboys. There's the concern with Lattimore, which is really kind of like I don't see that. I mean, it's a concern how they're going to handle CeeDee Lamb in the passing game, but that's more of like a 2 to 4 week concern for me. I think going back to the offensive line and Penning, it's like, what did we see him blocking a good Jadeveon Clowney or an ineffective Jadeveon Clowney? Because
Clowney's a name at this point.
He's a name.
He's never really
Right.
had the game to back up his name.
So Parsons could make Penning look straight up like he did in the preseason, but I'm excited.
But he can make anyone look like that.
And what I'm excited to see because of that is how Kubiak schemes to account for that.
Yeah.
Our run blocking yesterday was a thing of beauty. Phenomenal. I mean, they were at the second level.
Kamara looked like he's the one who's going to get the contract.
I sent you that clip of Fuaga just.
He was amazing.
Fuaga was great.
Throwing people down like they were kids. So can we take advantage of their aggressiveness in the pass rush, let them come upfield, and then just let
Screen passes floated over.
Let our linemen go upfield and just open up those run lanes. That's kind of what I'm excited to see how he handles that.
Look, I'm going into it with no real expectations.
Yeah.
Like, I literally look at yesterday as 1 week. Mm-hmm. I am not at the point where I'm saying this team is winning 11 games and making it to the playoffs and making a push for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think
I am very much on a week-to-week.
If they win the next 2, I will be on that.
I'll probably be there with you.
I draw a fine line on social media where, like, I play a character, I feel like, a bit now. So, like, I put purposefully, like, silly fanatical tweets. Like yesterday, I put y'all over Derek Carr, and I did this last year when Pete Carmichael had a good game after. And I know it's going to get me like racial, which I mean you get jumped after like the 3rd time on Twitter, you get used to it.
Shit happens.
And I got I pay for the blue check now, so I get money back. So I'm like, shit, y'all won't make me money by it.
Yeah,
you're telling me how stupid.
We're right behind you.
So
on that.
I play this fanatical role, and sometimes I'm like, okay. Am I playing it too much? Like, because people can't differentiate when I'm being serious and when I'm playing the role of right, what a great.
People are like mad in your replies.
Yesterday I say I'm leaning all in. Like, you don't get a 37-point ass whooping.
Yeah,
every day. So I'm going all in with I'm a fanatic, and I put these the wildest hot takes that I'm still getting my mentions blowing up, saying, "What the hell? People don't know what my stuff is." People who know who know me, they still. And I'm like, how do y'all not get me? Like the ones who followed me for like 2 years. I'm like, how do y'all not? But either way, you say you go into the game with no expectations. I'm not either, but what I will say is this. After Sunday, the most exciting thing for me is I am going into Sunday in Dallas Stadium. I will be there wearing my shirt, saying it loud and proud, win or lose. Y'all going to get some great content out of that game. I promise you that. I'm actually excited. Yeah. Like, well, I was excited at first. I just enjoy going to road games, right? But now I'm like, I actually think, silly me if we wind up losing 47-10 ourselves. But, I'm like, I think we can give them a game. And if we do, that would be fun. I hope we win. But I'm actually going to the Sunday excited. I want to see what Kubiak can do against Dallas.
After this past week, it looks like we can give them something.
I feel like it's going to be a close game. I really
It should be. I hope.
I think our defense is strong enough to where we can make a good game.
Yeah.
I just want to. I'm cautiously.
Because if we lose by more than 2 scores, it's going to be like all the goodwill from week 1 is just completely just give us a good game.
Right. And
I can be like, okay, that is a good team. We are kind of in agreement that we're not a great team ourselves. So we lost to a good team. But if you go to Dallas now when you lose 35-17 or 20 or whatever, people are going to be like, okay, same old Saints. They beat the sad teams, but nothing's changed. The offense is a little more polished, but they still, DA and Derek Carr are who they are. So I want, Derek Carr, Dennis Allen, prove us wrong. I'm cheering for you guys to be successful. I want you guys to make me and all the others look stupid. Make us look stupid.
Yeah.
So do it on Sunday. Make us look stupid.
It's what I keep going back to is consistency. I said it last year.
Yep.
The one game, it was amazing. I'm not going to take a damn thing away from that one game, but do it again. Just show us, unlike last year, if you really want to show us something different from last year, even if you lose, give us a game. Because I think if you're saying we can make the playoffs with 7 losses, right? There's some games on this schedule that have to be baked in losses. Mm-hmm. And you talk about going to Dallas on week 2, that's got to be one of them, right? So I think anyway, some people might disagree, but I mean, if you win this game, it's kind of a bonus to me. Like take on a bigger fight with the Eagles. At least they're in the dome. But if you win this game, it's a bonus.
I'll say this: if they win this game, perception changes.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's 2 wins, and this one would be a quality win. Because Dallas, I've been to Dallas to watch the Saints play the Cowboys before.
Serious.
It took a damn near miracle for Malcolm Jenkins in that game to win that game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that place is a tough place to play. That is a tough team. They've got talent all over the damn place.
As annoying as they are, their fans are loud.
I went in 2018 after we whooped the Falcons' butt on. That's like when we were winning by 40 points for 4 straight weeks. And I'm like, I booked the flight. Maybe that's the motivation behind my skits. Like I booked the flight. I drove. I booked the tickets though. Like that night at the Thanksgiving night when we beat the Falcons, I said we're going to Dallas, honey. Like we are going. Like we are unstoppable.
It's on your credit card. We're going.
And then we lost. And then we lost, right? Now I've also gone in the past. I think it was 2000. And this is an underrated game actually. 2013. I think it was the game where we went to overtime with them. Like Jimmy had fumble, or Colston had fumble.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy got it at the 2-yard, and we won. It was a great game. We also have interesting games with that. So, but all I have to say, it's definitely a tough place to play. God, if we could just give him because if we win, you just mentioned like
shit changes,
bro. You say perception changes. The dome against the Eagles in week 3
can be lit.
The most lit it has been in a long.
You won't see no
2019.
Corey might go to that game.
Yeah, but you won't see the $11 ticket prices.
Exactly. No. All that gets nipped in the bud, and because I'm gonna get on my soapbox on Twitter and say I told y'all winning carries everything.
Yep.
So it does though. I mean, it really does.
It does.
Look at I had zero optimism last week at this time. We were doing the preview episode, and we're all like, I'm fucking terrified of this game because I could see us losing to the Panthers. Yeah. This week, I'm like, shit, man.
I think you'll be terrified again, though, because now you're getting me worried. Like, we're getting a little too. Like,
I think it's because
look, I'm still going into it with measured expectation. I don't have any expectations. Mm-hmm. I'm not expecting them to put up 37 or 47 points this week. I'm just not expecting it.
And again,
I think it's a low-scoring game.
But it goes back to not really knowing, when you got an offensive coordinator who's such a guru and has this this complex plan, like you still don't know if you've seen everything. We could tell enough in the preseason, especially game 1, we definitely didn't see anything. We hardly even saw motion or play action. But we were number 1 this week in motion play action. So I'm kind of curious. Even though we put up 47 points, we did it pretty easily. So have we even still seen everything? Because I don't even know that we really saw that many screenplays. I don't know that we saw, I think there's a lot of exotic looks that we may not have even busted out yet against the Panthers because we knew we didn't have to once we got up by a few scores. That, that we might still be saving stuff for the Cowboys to break it out against the Cowboys.
That would be nice.
I mean, like putting Rashid at tailback and Taysom at the up back, like that's a pretty interesting look. You're in 12 personnel, but it doesn't look like it, and you get a touchdown.
Well, here's the thing.
But we might still have other shit up our
I think
sleeve.
we do, to your point, because we didn't see much with Taysom or Olave this week.
Olave only had, 2 catches?
2 catches. So
we could.
I think there's a lot left in the bag that he's going to pull out. And he's not going to do it all this week.
That's what I'm hoping anyway, but
I think the biggest thing for me is there's a sense of hope.
Right.
That this is as pessimistic as I've been going into a season.
It was. You didn't even make your annual Saints Super Bowl pick.
Every year of my life, I think I predicted him to win the Super Bowl, and I couldn't do it this year. It was
Nor did you.
Yeah, I didn't. I said fuck it. I'm going with the what I actually think, truly believe is going to happen approach.
You had a sensible, Well,
for the first time in my life, I was sensible with
guarded. I'll give it guarded.
It was very guarded. It was like Alcatraz, dude. There was nobody getting there, and it was fucking guarded. But that being said, the hope, as we are as Saints fans, the hope is kind of bubbling up, and it wants to come loose, and it might come loose if we win this week.
I hope.
I think it will to a degree, but again, win or lose, it has to be competitive.
It has to be.
Because if it's not, and it doesn't even look the part, because the Saints eye test is unlike nothing we've ever seen. The eye test for Saints fans is like if it's bad, they're gonna tell you it was 3 times worse.
Yeah.
And so it's got to at least look the part, even if we lose. Be competitive, because if it's not, if we can't move the ball in offense, if Carr overthrows a bunch of dudes, if receivers drop balls, we don't have any running yards, average 2.9 yards per carry again, we're just going to say, look, yeah, we got a new guy, but clearly it doesn't work against the real teams.
Yep.
So that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see that. To get me out of that world. I want to be free of that shit. That's what we had to trudge through last year with Carmichael. Show me Clint Kubiak that you can get this team where it needs to go offensively.
Look, first steps, I'm encouraged.
Yeah. You can't ask for a better.
You cannot.
That was as perfect as you could possibly script it. Like, there was no. I don't think anything else could have happened yesterday that would have made me feel better about the game.
Well, I mean, I'll look, if we're going to go there, I mean, we had 4 field goals?
Yeah, but he had 2 long
They're still
ones,
about a
man.
couple times.
I
felt good about that.
Groupie made them.
He made them.
Because I had no faith.
Makes you feel great about Groupie. But I mean, if you could say, like, could it be even better? Well, yeah, then you would have all touchdowns and no field goals.
47 points.
But it's 47 points.
He wants the 60 that Drew Brees would have put.
I'm going way out of my way to play devil's advocate here. It's 47 points. And Jamal got his touchdown. 2-game touchdown streak for Jamal. Put that out there on the Twitters.
Well,
thanks to James.
He averaged over 3 yards a carry too.
2-game streak for Jamal.
Last
2 games in a row. The last touchdown was Jamal.
3 of our last 4, right? Or 4 of our last 5. So
And
we scored 40 last against against Lawson. DA apologizing to the Falcons. But
and
maybe we actually were building something last year. Now all the fans were like, "Oh, we're just playing trash teams and whatnot." But maybe we were. Or DA was actually kind of building something that's carrying over. We'll see. This is obviously us kind of looking at it from a rose-colored glasses because of how Sunday went.
Yeah, and man, you just reminded me of the DA apology, and that sucked the wind out of the sails from that game last year, because don't ever do that, man. I like that was my favorite part about Sean Payton, was the pettiness, like doing a commercial talking about looking at a menu and he gets that
Dirty
fucking sly little smile and it's like roasted dirty bird or whatever the hell it was. Like,
just don't, even if you think it, or even if you
don't
did
say
it,
man,
to Arthur Smith behind closed doors.
Yeah, privately.
Don't get up on that podium and tell us you did it.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't care if you're lying to me. Like, just don't tell the fans you did it.
Yeah.
Same with Derek Carr and like when he talked to Jesse Bates. Like, I think Carr made up for it a little bit yesterday with his play on the field, and then shit talking to J.C. Horn.
I love that.
He's like,
I got 3
what?
of you. I feel bad for Joe Horn because I feel like
he's like, oh, my son.
JC has been kind of, I don't say a bust, but like I thought he was going to be a top cornerback, and he's been rough his career so far.
I don't know who was
I know
analyzing
who were trying to
it,
draft. They say Sean Payne was trying to go up out of him or Surtain.
Oh yeah, they were talking about trading up that year.
Was that the year we drafted Turner? I saw how the way we were.
Yeah, but a lot of people had Horn going.
That was the year.
I was looking at Horn anyway.
They were talking about trading all the way up into the top 10 to get him. I think it was the year we got Turner though. But thank God
Horn,
that didn't go through. Could you imagine giving up multiple firsts for Horn?
Oh, it'd been how many? Was it just the year after?
Has it been?
Well,
Turner was the year we stayed put and we drafted him. It was a total reach.
All right, so then the next year. All right, so anyway, it worked out.
Can't say it's been a whole lot better for
somebody.
Horn was also the same year as Patrick Surtain Jr. So
didn't Horn at least have like one stat worthy year?
I don't think so. He blew his leg out one year.
Yeah, and then it's kind of been rough sledding.
Anyway,
I have a question, y'all. This is the 28-3 podcast, so I feel like before we wrap up, I gotta ask this question. We gotta address it.
Let's do it.
Wasn't it great that the Falcons looked like so shitty yesterday? I mean, congratulations to the Falcons. You guys were the offseason champs. Oh, yeah. And I kept saying, I'm like, am I missing something? Like, God bless Kirk Cousins. He is, 35, 36. He's coming off an Achilles. He's an immobile quite. He's not Aaron Rodgers or anybody. He's never been that. So why is everybody acting like this is the same Kirk Cousins that they're going to get off a bad Achilles? And he looked
bad.
And it's only week 1. Maybe he has to play himself back into, but he looked like they might legitimately have to play Penix.
It looked like they were game planning around, like they knew he wasn't 100%, and they were doing their game plan completely around him being basically 70.
And they got Philly and I guess they got Philly and Kansas. Like they could be 0-3 going into that week 4 game.
Yeah.
And if we are 2-1, God, if we are 3-0 in here, that was talk about. Woo! I don't know. That's just me being fanatical.
It's like people saying the best 2 words in football: Saints win, or best 2 phrases: Saints win, Falcons lose.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And
I
don't want to write them off. It's week 1.
Well, no,
but I did think
yeah.
that the offseason hype was getting a little overboard for them. This all. I was
And
like,
that's what I think it's like
what are we doing, y'all?
I
Like,
think we're going to see
like
Penix before long.
The low key big market, because like you always get all the Cowboys news you never want. You always get the Giants news and the Jets, especially with Aaron Rodgers, and then the Rams and the Chargers, and so Atlanta's kind of like that media market, especially in the South. And so when they actually do competent things, I feel like the media wants to jump all over them because it's Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's besides the fact that they suck and we hate them, it's refreshing as hell to see like the media proven wrong. It's like, you tried to hype up that team again. You tried to do it.
I never learned y'all
You tried
lesson.
to do it. They
One
let,
thing the
they let you
Falcons
down.
are going to do is they are always going to Falcon. Remember that. I told them that because
Falcon going
I did
Falcon.
a rant video after we lost out on Justin Simmons, and I wasn't like acting like us losing out on Simmons was the end of the world, but I was like, damn, the optics looks pretty bad. Like, he came to us first.
Yeah.
He used us to get the Falcons, and then he chose the Falcons over us. And for some reason, the algorithm, whenever I do like a rant, because the Falcons got one up over us,
Oh, they
they're
come
like
in.
mice that see a fresh, like they after the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, it gives me more engagement and followers. But
Right. You help
they
me.
were on, and I'm like, okay, Falcons fans, let's slow down a little bit. I'm mad at my team, but remember something: you guys are always going to Falcon because you're the Falcons. And then, of course,
Yeah.
when they lose, they go back into hiding until the next big thing they do.
Yeah.
So I hope they continue to hide because
Yeah, they're in weird territory right now.
I really think we see
like,
Penix.
with Cousins. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna give him like 3 more weeks.
yeah,
But boy, if he looks like he did yesterday, that was bad.
because we've seen
Yeah.
Cousins when he's good. I mean, terrible. Like we know all too well how good he can be. But it's like, so if he does figure it out, okay, then we got to kind of walk it back. But one highlight I saw was one of the interceptions, and I don't know, I forget the Twitter account, but they were kind of like, look at the dude's back foot. He can't even plant off his foot.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
Yeah.
it looked weird as hell. Like, I don't know that I've seen really a quarterback's back foot look like that
He's not right.
who was not playing on a rainy field or in the snow.
Yeah.
Like, his foot was flat. It was sideways. I'm like, that is not
And they gave him how much money?
more than Carr, right?
So I'm not. I actually like when they drafted Penix. I was like, I ain't mad at that. Like, yeah, get your quarterback if you feel like he's
People were
gonna
dogging on it. I wasn't going public about it, but I mean,
That's the Jordan Love thing to me. But I was like,
it was a like
pay
not a reach, but
Cousins.
like it's a you're forfeiting that first round pick for this year, seemingly, but like long term, it's really not the worst move. you
yeah,
know?
no, absolutely not. And if Penix winds up being a star, nobody cares about it, right? Nobody cares about the Cousins
Like,
contract.
I mean, still,
Yeah.
it's
but
the
it's still
Falcons.
weird.
So,
It's like,
so
man,
like,
y'all paid Cousins a lot of money.
I mean, I'm still gonna say it was dumb because it's the Falcons. So fuck
Yeah,
them.
nah,
But like,
fuck them, yeah.
but it could turn out that
No, seeing how he
like,
looked
we're not gonna want to
yesterday.
go up. We're not gonna want to go up against Penix when he plays.
Seeing how he looked yesterday, I really do think we see Penix at some point this year.
Yeah.
Probably closer to midseason than
Put it
you
this
would
way,
think.
well, if Carr had looked like Cousins,
oh my God.
you would have been asked for anybody else. I'm not gonna bring up like all the other shit, but you would have been asked for a backup.
Well, I mean,
The Hainer high, baby.
Hainer would have come in and done his thing, man.
It's all the people clamoring for Hayner. You can't get on Twitter without people talking about Jake Hayner these days. With
Come
the
on,
little-
man.
Hey,
Jake
he
Hainer
was
fan
number
club
2.
over here.
Well, the
yesterday,
Hayner,
so-
Hayner house with the house emoji. I've seen that.
Hainer
Yeah.
House, have you?
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
the
for
Hainer
sure.
House of
high
Hainer?
with the B
Definitely.
emoji.
Big,
Hainer
yeah.
Hive, okay.
I rock
Yeah.
with Hainer, man. I like Hainer. I feel bad for Hainer, man. I always say it's like that Toy Story meme.
Seems
When
like a
Andy
good
says,
dude.
I don't want to play with you anymore. Like, we drafted Rowler and everybody. Because remember last year?
You're not wrong. You're
Hainer
not
was
wrong.
a sexy, like, he had that city photo shoot.
people were like,
He
look
was
at
a Drew Brees fan, so they had the kid photo
And
him
it-
wearing. And I'm like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
man.
and he
we
backed it up.
just-
He backed it up in the preseason that year, playing pretty well.
We just discarded that man, so I'm still a part of the Hainer hive, man. I like all the quarterbacks.
I do
honestly.
too.
So-
Look, I'm a big fan of
fun.
drafting a
Yeah.
quarterback every year until you have the guy.
This is yet another reason why, like, I know it's total tangent, but like, everyone's like, New Orleans should have a baseball team. I'm like, you know how many backups there are on an MLB team? If this is how we're going about one backup QB, like, look, yeah. So I agree with you. Have multiple options ready to go.
It's
Yeah.
what people
We're
get
fine.
mad at because I'm
We're
missing
fine.
this
Underhill put out a good article talking about how the Saints have a specific plan to develop the 2 mid-round quarterbacks. Look, because one was drafted in the 4th round, one was drafted in the 5th
He
round.
was basically saying, "Calm down, fans." But
Yeah.
part of being a fan is being fanatical. I get it, so I embrace it.
You're a
Like, that's
goddamn
my
NFL
concept.
franchise. If you don't have the resources to develop 2 guys as backups, then what are we doing? You know,
Exactly.
you can do it. It can be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be QB1, QB2, 3.
But hey, man, if Derek Carr plays like he
can be
did
done.
Sunday,
Don't matter.
we ain't got to worry about no damn Hayden Rattler. We got the future right now.
Stay healthy.
Exactly.
He's got to stop lowering his damn shoulder.
God, Carr gonna make us look so
You know.
silly on Sunday. He gonna do like 3 picks. I'm like, yo, delete this episode. Delete this episode.
No, man. Look, nothing goes on the cutting room floor here, no matter how dumb or outlandish it might
I'll
be.
stand by
Nah,
what I
yeah,
say.
we-
10 toes down,
yeah.
all right?
But
10
no,
toes
before we
down.
get out of here,
We let it roll.
here's a question for you. So, what is better, your drink from Blue Oak or the Who Daiquiri?
Oh, now you're gonna put me on the spot like that.
Shout out, Maddie.
Yeah, my drink, of
Yeah.
course, man. Shout out to Maddie, but my drink, man, the strawberry mango daiquiri. Talk about a strong drink. You might need it too with the Saints and the Pelicans.
Well,
How they
Johnny,
the LSU. I mean,
Yeah.
the Who Daiquiri is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but you know,
You're
it's kind
so-
of like the Stone Cold and the Rock of drinks. Like, you know, the Rock is great.
Oh, okay.
The Rock is great, but
Dude.
Stone Cold is just a
Jono, man,
sad bit.
you're setting us up for having mandatory guests come on now. Now I feel like first we talk about Devin.
Bring
Now
Maddie
we're gonna
on.
have to bring
Bring
Maddie
Maddie
on
on.
it.
She
She's
can-
got to have to
let
say her
Maddie talk her
piece.
shit.
She's got to say her piece about her drink now.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that was
man.
well done, though.
I
Because
love Maddie. Shout out to Tulane, man. They got robbed last Saturday.
Yeah,
They did.
Referees
They
got
absolutely
hauled
did.
on for screwing New Orleans
That was
team. Shout out to
bullshit.
Tulane, man.
But yeah, Maddie does a great job covering that team, man.
Maddie's an awesome
she's on it.
person. Maddie's an awesome. She was at my. We did a drink launch party for.
Nice.
And Maddie's just an awesome person. And
Yeah.
all the love in the world. So I'm glad that she is getting her flowers too because she deserves it.
so you're pretty much everywhere at this point.
It's been a hell of a start to the season, I will say. I'll say. I don't know if y'all know Scooter Magruder, the big Cowboys fan. He does like the reaction videos. He hit me up today, literally before I came here, and I'm like, I gotta.
He
that's why-
he came across my feed today for something.
All right,
The algorithm.
and,
Yeah.
he's 250K on
Damn.
Jesus,
Twitter,
all
like
right.
600K or 500K on.
So you're doing
and he
like-
asked me to be a part of like this very popular video series. Like he does the how Cowboys fans react, but this year he's trying to incorporate a fan of the opposing team.
Oh, okay.
So he hit, so I will be
You're
on
gonna be
that, and I'm hoping I'm doing it where I'm talking shit to him.
You be representing
on
us.
Monday.
Yeah.
But if it's got to be me like taking the L,
Nah,
but
don't
like,
let-
that's just showing that you know
Engagement is engagement, my friend.
who's watching, and it seems like
Well-
the momentum for this shit more than the game is real.
If he tries to game break mascot downplay you like they do, like with like your team's mascot beats up another guy. If he tries to script that in for you, just go off script. Just give him a little something.
I could bring that this shit.
Give
more
him a
than the
little
game.
something.
If I hopefully I survive in Dallas, son, because I'm going in there. I live the character. Like I'm going in
Yeah.
there. I mean,
yeah.
Thankfully, I'm gonna be real. It's not just me and my wife. Like a lot of my family's going, so I'm gonna have
You're good.
protection.
You're good.
Yeah, don't be a
But if
viral.
y'all see me like on one of them, the Barstool retweets of fight
Dude.
stadium, and y'all see me like,
Every week there's a fight video, man.
be like that's how Jono getting knocked out by the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Don't be the fight video of
Dude,
this
it's
week.
bad now,
Because
man.
every week.
I have a. I don't know if it's weird, but I enjoy watching fight videos. That's all I want.
Oh, I enjoy them too.
I mean-
Because me, I would never fight
not-
over sport. I'm
it's
sorry.
not real.
Unless,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not worth
you know,
it. It's not worth
sometimes
it.
it's like you got to defend yourself as a human or
Yeah.
as a man. But I'm like,
Yeah.
that's why on Twitter, like, I don't get into any Twitter. I'm like, if y'all are that mad at me over a take,
Yeah.
we hate your content, so we don't. God bless you.
when I see the fight videos, I'm like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back in the situation? Like
Alcohol.
Like,
Like the
well,
sugar
that.
drink. Yeah.
But like, what was
Yeah.
the last thing said that was like, all right, that's it, throwing a punch? I don't know. You never know.
I'll say this from knowing you now. We've known you for about a year. I feel like you on Twitter is just, I guess, the wrestling analogy again. The best wrestlers are the ones whose personalities, their characters, are just them turned
Amplified
up,
by 10, yep.
And I feel like you on Twitter is pretty much just your actual persona, just jacked up a little bit more,
Exactly.
with a little extra seasoning
Exactly.
on it.
You get it.
And Corey and I talk about it like.
Yeah.
I'm literally the exact same in person as I am when we're talking on this or whatever, and it's real. It comes across real with you. You know what I mean? Like I love the character, and knowing you, I know it's you. It's
Right.
not any kind of bullshit
That's
little
why
show.
that's why we click, man. I'm an energy guy.
But you heard it here first.
Oh, you're an energy guy for sure.
And I
no
feel-
understudies
I'm
for Jono. No stunt doubles.
Well, I think what we need to do, 'cause we're I think right at the hour and a half mark.
Yeah.
Why don't we wrap this up the same way we wrapped up the previous episode with Jono?
Yeah.
And maybe Jono goes ahead and gives a pep talk.
Yeah. So
I got. All right, go ahead.
I think
just
this
to kind of
is your time. Let you cook.
We're gonna set it up because Jono's grown since last year. We've grown a little bit, got some new followers. Arguably one of the best regular season games. Well, we only had regular season games last year, but the Patriots game was probably the best played.
Yeah.
And we had Jono on as a guest before the Patriots game, and things were kind of down before that.
We were down. Yeah.
And we had Jono in here. We recently kind of linked up on Twitter and got to talking, and we brought him in. We had a great episode, and Jono's a great motivator. I don't know if you've seen him on YouTube and whatnot, but we said, Jono, there's only one person that can bring this home for the black and gold, and it's a Jono Barnes pep talk. And so he gave it. Dude, you talked to that team. You talked to those men.
That's why we won.
And they came out. They came out that tunnel and took some names. So, yeah.
I mean, I ran through a brick wall.
So that's yeah. So that's what we did last year. So I think you're right, Max.
I think it's the only. It's the fitting way to end this episode.
It's a big game. Cowboys, Saints.
You ready? You ready? Do we need to
coach?
No, I know.
We're gonna sign off with this. Is there anything you want to plug before we do this?
At Jono Barnes on everything. If you search now, this shit more than the game, I will come up. You can see my content. You can buy a shirt for $28.30.
That's right.
So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and turn it over to the man.
I'm gonna say it's real simple this time, guys. Everything you did last week before that Sunday game against the Panthers, do it again. That's how you play football. Everything you did before the Carolina Panthers game, just do it again. Okay? Because you know they always say everything is bigger in Texas. Well, you know it's going to be bigger in Texas. This ass whooping that we are going to give to the Dallas Cowboys. We've shown the world already what we do when this shit is more than a game. Now on the biggest stage, in the biggest stadium, we are going to really show why this shit is more than a game. So everything you did before the Carolina Panthers game, I want y'all to do it again because y'all already shown that y'all know what it takes to prove why this shit is more than a game. Now we're going to do it against the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to show why, right? All my exes live in Texas. Well, you know what? All the L's as well live in Texas. Courtesy of Dennis Allen.
Let's go.
Cole, and Clay Kubiak and the New Orleans Saints. Give me a this shit more than a game on 3. 1, 2, 3.
This shit more than a game.
Whoa. And with that, who dat?
Who dat?